Good afternoon. This is Don Maxwell from Live IT Academy, and we're continuing our series on Excel. Today's topic is enhancing a chart. How do we go about enhancing a chart? Now, you can choose from a large variety of styles and effects to improve the appearance of your chart. This will increase its visibility and its appeal and its effectiveness. So, using format dialog, we use a format tab, or whether we use the chart element tools, we can choose from a variety of commands and galleries on the chart tools. See consecutive tab when I click on the chart. And I can apply a shape style to the chart titles or to the axis titles. And I can adjust and fill colors and outlines and change shape. I can do this to enhance the liking of the chart. You also can apply word art styles to any text to make it stand out. We can align and reposition multiple objects on the chart. We can format an object, right? So how do we go about this? First, we have to select the chart, right? Now, you will note that there are chart series, right? We can have a single data marker or double click sometimes to have the data marker. So for example, if I'm looking at my series or my data marker, this is a single data marker. Notice I'm going to do that again. One click, select the January, February, March East range, right? Notice it's not selecting all, right? So if I double click, I select one. So what if I want to change just one data point? Can I do that? Absolutely, right? And there's a variety of ways you can go about doing that. Well, you can use the format, and you can also use the shape styles to affect that format. For example, if I wanted to change the fill colors, right? And I just simply want to make this color green, axis 6, lighter 40%, right? See, I just affected just that one data point, right? And it's true, if I wanted to change each data point, I can do that as well, right? Let's say I wanted to make this lighter color. And so not only can I change the series of data, I can change individual data points, right? And it does make sense if one data point representing, let's say, east is the same color, right? So if we wanted to actually make each one of these the same color, I'll go ahead and show we can do that as well, right? Notice one click and you'll see that the data point is highlighted. You can see the sizing handles appear around the data point, right? Two clicks allow me to do individuals. Now, and I can click on the individual data points. So this one I could make blue. But here's the thing. I'm using the format shape styles, the fill here, but I can also use, and there's a variety of ways of doing this. I can also go into the data point here, right? And notice I have access access titles, charts, data table, grid lines, and so on, right? Right, and that gives me which one I'm choosing. Should I choose the primary vertical, primary horizontal, or the depth, right? Or more options that will open up the template, format access template. And I can also, let me put my chart here so you can also see the chart while I'm looking at the template. And from the template, let's say I wanted to pick a point, let's say West, series West, right? And I can apply colors to it just the same way I did from the chart. So I can go and apply colors to it, right? So notice whether you're doing it from the format tab, the shape styles, or doing it from the template that accompanies each object, right? So you can get this template on each object in a variety of ways. Here's another way you can get it. If I go to the format, the current selection, and press that down arrow, notice I can pick, let's say, north, right? So let's pretend that the format wasn't open, and I go here and I pick north. Right? So you can see the very different data points that I'm picking. So if you can't simply use your mouse to click on that data point, you can go into the current selection, format current selection group, and you can pick it from there. Right? And apply a color. Let's say fill color blue. Right? And so on. So you can see that I can target the data points and format them using the format or the chart element format, which allows me to also control what I put on the chart. Right? I want to see the axis titles on the chart. I can do that. So what about if I wanted to enhance the titles on the chart? I'm going to simply adjust the plot area a little bit, and I want to make the chart wide enough so I put the titles outside of the plot area. Right now, the axis title, the vertical title is in the plot area, and the depth title is also in the plot area. I note that the horizontal title is below the plot area. That's fine. And also the chart title is above the plot area, right? Now, it is true that if you wanted to, you could put the plot title, you could, the axis titles or the chart title, you could choose, do I want to overlay it on the chart plot area, right? Or above the chart. Right now it's above the chart, right? So if I overlay it, right, what you see is that it should be chart title here, right? And I can pick whether I want to overlay it or above the chart, right? And more options will give me that template as well, allow me to further change the fill colors, the border, the actual border of each object to affect the outside border, as well as to fill it colors within, their patterns, their gradient patterns, and so on. And the effects, whether I want it to be shadow, glow, soft edges, 3D type edges, right? We can pick from that. We are going to pick from these, just showing you that they're there. And then how about if I want to actually affect the alignment of each object? Now, that this is true that these tiles are here for each object, as well as using the format shapes, right? We can even use word art to enhance the text. So if I click in my chart, I'm going to go back. Let's go back in the chart, click on the vertical axis, and I'm going to use word art to enhance the text around the chart, right? And you have a gallery of word art that you can pick from, right? I just simply pick this one, but you can advance. And the only thing that I would recommend is that you make your selection uniform. For example, if I'm going to change the title axes, do not have them look mismatched, right? Just make the chart look pretty uniform. I'll explain what I mean. We'll go ahead and we'll click chart title. You now by now should know how to enter a title. This side would be my sales amount. So in the formula bar, I'm entering the sales amount. Just right in the formula bar up here, sales amount. And when I press enter, that amount gets placed right in the placeholder, right? And as I said, I've increased my chart where I can move, use the move tool to move that amount outside of the plot area, right? And similar here, this is my regions. And again, I'm simply typing it in the formula bar, pressing the enter, and it automatically gets placed in the placeholder. Now, the chart, expand the chart a little bit, and I move it down here. And if you could see whether it's in the plot area or not, right? So if, you can move it outside the plot area if that's what you want to do, right? And how about the horizontal? This is month, right? Now, to enhance it, we're using colors, right? As I said, we can use from a variety of places, whether it's a format, the format tool, and fill or shape or style, you know, picking from here. That's also a way of doing it, right? Or simply going to the shortcut menu, right click, and go to format the tile, and you can pick from a variety of colors, right? Fill or gradient colors, right? Notice you have more options here, right? Including the outline. What about if I want this to look like 3D, right? I can go into format as 3D, and I'm going to make it the top beveled. And what about if I make the top beveled and round, right? You can actually see it comes to life, right? So what I do here, right? I can do to each, and I believe a shortcut can be done here as well, right? On that, okay. And again, the home text. Right, and just to make sure I'm clicking on the right color, because they should be the same. Fill color. Right, 46%. All right, and what I do to these, I'm going to do to region as well. So pick in the fill color. Saying I want it to be beveled edge. Text got to be white. Right, and don't forget your title, right? Your chart title. So what title should this chart have? Regional. sales, and let's say it's Q1. Press the enter button, and there it is. And I'm going to apply the same effects to this. So just to coordinate, keeping it the same, right? I can do beveled edge, right? I could do the fill color, whether I do it from here or there, doesn't really matter, it's the same, right? The text color, right? Right, so you should see how you're doing it. I know I'm using a variety of places, but they're all the same effects, right? Whether it's the chart going into the properties of the chart or going to the format of the, the properties of the object, going into the format, the properties of the object, or clicking on the object, going on the format and applying, right? So you saw I apply word art, you see I apply the various changes to the chart title, right? And what about the legend? Can I do the same to the legend? It's an object on the sheet, so I'm going to do the same to the legend here. I'm going to apply the same changes. And we said we wanted to have an effect of soft edges. Let's see. Reset. We wanted to glow. Next, make the text white. All right. So you sort of get the same picture that we have. Apply the same features here. Okay, good job. All right, so the next thing I want to do to enhance my sheet is simply to pick the different areas, right? How would I go about picking the different areas? Well, as I said, you can go to the chart area, you could pick the back wall, right? We did to figure out what the chart area is, what the title area is. All the different objects can be selected and changed, right? So for example, you should know what your chart area is already. So if I pick the chart area and I say, I want the chart area to be blue, right? That's the chart area. And I want the plot area to have a different look. Right? And again, I can apply the same effects. Remember, these are effects. So what if I want this area to be beveled or sunk in, right? See that one, or I want it to be sunk in. Deeper sunk in, or beveled edges. Okay. All right. Now notice when I did that, the word art changed, or the color changed, so the color of the text changed from black to white, right? So some of those effects will do that. All right, and understand that you can do the access titles and so on here. All right, so a key thing here is, if you were having trouble locating chart elements list, you look directly above the format section here, current section, and you can pick your objects here that you want to affect. As you can see, there's a lot of different options. The side wall, we could change the color of the side wall. And say we want the side wall to be that green, right? And then you have the back wall. right? And you have the fluoride. Now, remember, there's another way of doing this as well. If I right click, if I pick the object, if I know the object, and I right click, I can go on the shortcut menu, right? And notice the same commands are here. I can pick them directly, or I can go to format the floor, right? And I make my floor a darker color. So I'm gonna go and make it like a gray color. Right? To have that shadowy effect. Now, the elements are all part of it. You know, you want to add the access, the titles, the chart, right? In some cases, I could put data labels on my chart. I do that if the data that I'm selecting is not within my report, right? If it's from another worksheet or something, I could put the data labels in, right? Or the data tables, right? That will either do that or do this, right? Depending on how precise I want to get to as far as how I'm showing, because right now we're looking at the grid to determine the actual amount, right? Right, whether you want to put grid lines or legend, right? And remember, even with grid lines, you have really some special effect. How about the primary, major, horizontal grid lines, or primary, major, vertical grid lines, right? There's so much you can do with minor grid lines if you want it to go even tinier, right? On the floor, right? And again, if I go more, I'll have those options in my chart. Format major grid lines, right? Whether I want to affect the width of the line, right? Component type, data, whether I want the lines to be dashed, right? Or automatic or solid color, I can do that as well. Okay, so you notice that we can open the format from the ribbon. Charts tool appeared with context tab. I can open the format from the ribbon, or I could select the current selection and pick the format, pick the object from the current selection group, right? Or we said that you can go into the chart elements and pick the chart element that you want to adjust or to enhance, right? All right, so we learned how to select individual data points and make the changes there, right? Right, so one other thing here I want to point out is if you change your chart and you don't like what it looks like, if you decide you want to go back, you can reset to match and start all over again. Just go to format, current selection, reset to match style, and that will go right back to where you started, right? But of course, we've done a lot of work here with our chart to make it look appealing and to make it effective. Right, so I don't need to do that, but remember you can do that with one command, format, reset to match style. All right, so whether you're using solid fill or gradient fill, if you want more of the gradient fill, because these are all solid fills here, right? You can fill with colors, you can even fill with pictures or gradient or textual type, right? These are all variety of color fills that you can put in. You can do them here. As a matter of fact, you can even see a band of the gradient stop, right? Where one color start and stop in terms of its shading, right? You can even choose whether you want it to look, the color to be looking radial, right? Or rectangular, right? I'm going to click on the chart area again, and I'm going to apply special effects on that chart area. I kind of make it like sunk in there, right? And don't forget that it's not just the effects on the area, right? You can choose I don't want to rotate the chart. You can choose to rotate the chart, but I'm saying you can choose the border line if you want. How do you want to affect the border? If you want an outline, solid color outline, and again, you can have a different color for the outline. Right, and you can see that I have a black outline, right? And if you wanted to see more of the transparency there, you can increase it or decrease the transparency of that black outline. So I can affect the outlines of the chart, right, as well. Now, here's the thing. What if I want to take the data point and change this from a square to, let's say, a cylinder or something else? I could do that. I click on the data point, and then I can go in and see the series, and I could say change from box to full pyramid to partial pyramid to cones, right? And again, remember, I can do for each, right? I want to keep it uniformed. Right, that's no matter how you change your chart, make sure that it's uniform. You're using the same column shape for your columns, right? Or if you're mix matching, it must be for a reason, right? But you want to make sure that your chart is uniform and that it makes sense to, or it appeals to your clients, right? All right, so whether you're learning the shape effective buttons, all right, or you're learning how to color or learning about the vertical axis, you have to go in and practice how to use these tools, right? Your gap depth is the gap between the depth. Oh, it's 150 right now, so I wouldn't change that. Right. The other thing is you don't want to overwhelm the chart. You don't want it to be too much, right? But you want it to stand out. All right. So the chart itself, we learned that you can adjust to your liking, right? You can apply the shape style to the chart title, and then any objects you can fill with colors. The outline you can affect, changing the effect to your liking, right? These are effects. So these are the chart option tools, right? The color fills, right? So you can fill color, or you can change the border colors, right? Or special effects, shadow, you can apply shadow or glow, right? And again, you can do shadow or glow, depending on the colors that you're using as well. And you can soften the edges, or you can do a 3D edge, right? So you have rotation, where you can rotate this chart. Sometimes it makes sense that you want to rotate the chart. So, and then you can also change the size, height, width, whether you want it to be centered or not, depends on different objects that you clicked on, right? So for example, if I click on this, I could do a vertical alignment to center, middle to center, right? So it depends on the object that I click on. Then I may get different alignments, right? So for example, if I go here, then I may not get that alignment, right? If I go here, I may get that alignment, right? Right? So you understand, if a tool is not there, that means it simply means you may have not done anything to invoke that tool, right? None of your selection includes that tool, right? So a variety of tools to enhance your chart. Keep on enhancing your charts, making them look presentable, visible, effective, right? Remember, they're visual, and so they speak louder than your text, right? Continue to learn how to make different charts. And as a matter of fact, we're going to look into how to create a pie chart next, okay? Great job, and continue to practice enhancing your charts. Have a good afternoon.